This week I'd be back in the studio experimenting more with lighting and some self-portraiture. I was in here last week working on creating something similar to Bill Jacobson's intimate portraits, but this week I'd be merging that with Dwayne Michael's Illuminated Man, depicting a man whose face is obscured by a glare of sun. For this video I'd be using my Nikon F2 and the Nikon 50mm f2 and also my Yashica 24 later on. I loaded a roll of Camera 400 into my camera and began to set up the studio. I always find it interesting to look at the lighting other people have been using, because what the fuck was going on here? My studio setup was very similar to last week's, just two soft boxes left and right of the mannequin with a black studio backdrop this time. My plan was to bracket the same kind of few exposures like I did last week and experiment with what that looks like with the black studio backdrop this time. And then once I had that as a baseline, I would use a cone, funnel or snoot, whatever you call them, directional spotlight to create something similar to the Illuminated Man but with a mannequin in the studio. Reading about Michael's work, it's actually kind of interesting how we didn't intentionally create this image, it was just a ray of sunshine being lit through a window, and it creates a really surreal look into the image. Accompanying the image is the sentence, "The Illuminated Man," and it's one of my favourite things about Michael's work is that, you know, he wrote on his images. In the 1960s it was insanely unconventional to actually write on your images, but Michael's background being a graphic designer, he just thought it was natural and normal to do so, and he didn't realize he was doing something that broke conventions. I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool, just something really interesting about his work. Like last time, I'd be keeping a note of all my exposures to refer back to, and with all my gear and the model set up, I began taking my photos. My first 4 exposures were traditionally in focus, rated at 1/200th, 1/60th, 1/15th and 1/8th. One thing I didn't really consider while making these was that naturally with a black backdrop, as I overexpose the negative, the black will become more washed out and greyish, which can be fixed in post, but it's definitely more annoying than just using a regular white studio backdrop. For the next 4 exposures, I set the focus to 0.6 meters, resulting in these softly diffused images which looked pretty okay. This is why I eventually set up the funnel, cone, snoot, whatever you call it, directional spotlight to illuminate Doris's face. I pretty much replicated my last 2 batches of exposures, one in focus and one out of focus, but with the funnel light this time in creating these images. This just kind of let me compare the two, and you know, the cone light actually made a really big difference and I really liked how it looked. The 0.6 meter focus ones are definitely my favourite of the batch, specifically number 15. I think this image is incredible, which was 2 stops overexposed. There's something about the mix of the gritty grain and the fuzzy focus, it's just really speaking to me. I've done 16 exposures. I'm not feeling too confident. I don't know. I'm not unconfident. I just think I need to know what it looks like before I continue. I don't really want to continue this role. I'm thinking I might just take my camera to the darkroom, cut the film out that I've shot, and develop that, and then keep the other half of the roll for another time if I want to do any more shooting. Main reason I bought this camera was because obviously I love medium format and my TLR, and also the self-timer on this actually works compared to my Nikon F2, which the self-timer is busted. So I can actually take self-portraits on my own with this. I don't know what's hit me, but you know, I'm just in the studio and the anxiety that's just set in. It's like, I'm not doing a good job right now. So yeah, we're gonna change this shit around and pray. Pray something goes well. So yeah, as I was saying, I'd be working on some self-portraits now. The studio setup was going to be a white backdrop with 2 soft lights, ditching the cone light from before. I loaded the Tri-X400 into my TLR and set up the tripod using Doris as a stand-in for my focusing. For the first 3 self-portraits, I'd be bracketing the exposures at 1/30, 1/8, 1/4 at f3.5, set to infinity focus. There's a really weird feeling when taking self-portraits. You're kind of alone with your thoughts in the silence, just waiting for the shutter to go off. Like, what are you meant to be thinking about in that time? What crosses your mind? Self-portraiture in a way is its own form of meditation. These images were set to a 10-second self-timer, so just for those 10 seconds I was waiting, having to actually confront my thoughts for once. These images came out shit, but I think there is some bias in that, in the fact that I am looking at images of myself and I don't really like to see that. I think one of the main issues I was having was my t-shirt being so contrasting to the scene that I kind of stood out like a sore thumb. So for my next frames, I'd be taking my shirt off. I've been self-conscious about my body for way too long now, and I can confidently say only 3 people have seen me properly shirtless in the last 4 to 5 years. So to go from that to taking my shirt off in front of a camera and on video for whoever to see was definitely a little jarring, to say the least. The first 3 exposures were the same as the last 3, just shirtless, and they're better than before, but they're still not great. I prefer this cropped in version, which I did eventually print in the darkroom as well. The next set I did the same kind of tilted looking to the side posture, but from the back this time, and I like these a lot more. Finally, for my last batch, I went for a straight back facing shot, which honestly just kind of was disappointing too. There's just nothing really interesting to look at here. After finishing my roll, I tidied up in the studio, packed my bags, and went to the darkroom. I printed these on fiber paper for the first time, and I am obsessed with it. It's a shame it's so expensive, but you know, the colour and the contrast is so smooth and rich. I love these images. I think I'm at the point where, you know, I've looked at these images long enough that I don't really see myself anymore, so I can appreciate them for being their own kind of pieces of art, I guess. I'm a bit stuck in kind of like a limbo right now with where this project is going. I don't really know what I want to do. I think really I'm just burnt out from university work in general. But if you do want to keep up to date, definitely follow my Instagram linked in the description below. As usual, I post on there kind of frequently, and you get to see some nice behind the scenes of me making these images. Thank you for watching as always. If you liked the video, like below, leave a nice little friendly comment, I don't know, subscribe. I'll catch you on the other side. Matt out. Why is there like a full family of 5 speaking outside my window right now, for fuck's sake? Yeah.